Come with me and you'll see how to draw from your imagination. Hello, everybody. My name is RODGON. I'm an artist, I'm a designer, I'm a teacher, and today we are going to be drawing some fun things together. So, how are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing great. Today is Tuesday, and yesterday we finished our cover, and I'm putting it together on the computer right now. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, how pretty. So that's going to be finished today. And hopefully I can get my scans in because apparently they're not in the folder that they're supposed to be in. So I need to make sure that those scans are somewhere. And once those scans are in, I can release it. And then the second one is going to be our two-tone book. The one that we did with like the half brown paper, the half the other one. That's going to be our raw art book number 2. So what do you guys want to learn today? What do you guys want to learn? I saw that you guys were learning how to draw legs with West this morning. So if you guys were learning how to draw legs, we could continue that lesson and teach you guys how to draw your legs a lot easier. So maybe today's lesson will be legs. Legs in overlapping shapes. How about that? Legs, arms, and overlapping shapes. So let's talk about this today and why it's so important to just understand how to overlap shapes if you want to learn how to draw things like legs and body parts a little easier. Why understanding pivot points is so important, because learning the pivot point allows you to understand how something rotates around an element. Okay? So understanding the little pivot points for each one of your body parts is very crucial in understanding how to move them. So if you want to learn posing better, after today, you're going to be a lot better at it. So if you guys want to help me become a more known individual and you want to stay for the lesson, all I ask is that you guys like the stream. I don't ask you to donate. I don't ask you to do absolutely anything. I would ask you to purchase my books if you guys do feel like financially supporting after this. But if you guys already did or don't have anything that you want to purchase from me, that is fine. I don't ask for anything in return. All I want is for you guys to know a little bit more information after today, and you will be able to understand how to draw legs and go off on your merry way as a better artist, thanks to me. So, sup, brother? What up? Stars, hey, you're so sweet. I'll give you diabetes. Be careful. So, one of the biggest... Let me wait until the fire truck starts coming through. And I'll explain why legs are normally hard. Why are legs hard? Well, wow, it seems like there's a big fire or something close by. Oh my God, there's a lot of... Hold on. Let me look through the mirror. Hold on. Yep, there's a big fire. There's a big fire in the distance. Ah, that sucks for someone. Someone's having a bad day. Well, hopefully this isn't very distracting. I don't mind teaching through it, so let's keep on going. All right, so the thing that is hard to draw about legs is understanding how they come out of the body. So if you have just a very basic human body, okay, a belly button, a head, some arms, yay! And understanding how the legs come out of the body is normally the hardest part for people. They don't understand that your legs aren't just boxes coming out, right? If you draw it like that, it might look okay, but you won't understand how to move it, how to make it work. Understanding that your leg goes at a little angle at a little angle. It's almost like a 35 to 45 degree angle. Okay? If you draw a little 45-degree angle circle at the bottom of your leg, of your bottom of whatever shape you choose, it could be a little hourglass, it could be a circle, it could be anything you want. Any shape that you draw. As long as you draw a little 45-degree circle, you're going to have access to the angles needed to be able to draw legs. You can make them simple, you can make them more realistic. You can do anything you want from that point on because that is how your brain interprets that bone structure. So it can be anything, really, even a noodle. And it'll look a lot better than if you didn't do that. Now, why is that? Well, it's because your hip bone, the place that has your legs, or your legs come out of, has that circle, that's that angle. That might be a little exaggerated, but this is what happens with your actual bone. Your bone comes out a little, and then it comes back in, creating a little teardrop with the muscles around it. So this is what happens with your legs. When you're drawing your legs, trying to keep them nice and straight makes it really hard. But if you just focus on that little teardrop shape and the straight line, you can come up with the rest of the muscles really easy. Okay, so you can focus on finding those circles, finding two teardrops that connect back to those circles, draw two shin bones at the front of the leg, and then draw your muscles behind. So understanding that part of the body, once you understand that little concept, becomes really easy. Circle, circle, teardrop in two different positions. From here, straight line into my foot, straight line into my foot, and my muscle behind. So understanding how and where to put legs becomes a very simple concept. So yeah, this will be on YouTube later. I'm waiting to upload some stuff. I haven't had the best internet connection lately. I don't know, it's this time it's not the router, so you guys can't blame the router. It's the internet service provider. They are just absolute garbage here in TJ. So whenever you're drawing your leg, you can think about it like this, okay? If you want to draw it as a stick figure, the stick figure should be like this. And then, as you fill it in, consider this and whatever width you want for your knees and your ankle, and that is what you use for your teardrop and your line. Boom. So understanding how to generate that volume should not be incredibly difficult from that point on. Circle, circle for your hip bones. Teardrop, teardrop. This is already the volume that you need for your thighs. From here, you can draw your kneecap at the front of that, and then a straight bone down in the form of a cylinder or a line, whichever you envision better. Draw your foot that fans out from your ankle. So I like to draw a little triangle because that's just a natural shape that we get for a foot. And then from the back of my thigh to a little bit above the top of my ankle, I just draw my muscle that tapers down from the back of my thigh. So understanding that little overlapping shape happens just makes it super easy for me to do that. And then when I need to move that foot somewhere that's difficult, it's not. Because I'm just moving a line. I don't have to move the whole thing. It's not like I'm moving a massive amount of volume. I'm just moving a line. And it's pivoting from the front of my thigh. So that's why I told you pivot points are very important, right? If your pivot point is in the middle, that's going to look weird. But when you move it from that pivot point in the front, it gives you all those little overlapping thingies that happen naturally with your leg. Okay? So that is a very easy way to approach legs. And once you find your hip bones, you can move that anywhere you want, and it becomes really easy to position them. Even overlapping your shapes becomes easier. So understanding that is very important. So now that you understand the leg shape, now let's talk about how it connects to the body, because that's the most difficult part to learn. Get off me right now. I'm teaching. Off. Sit down. Lay down. Good boy. Oh, you're so good. Oh, you brought me your bunny. That's why. Okay, here. All right. If you guys don't know, I'm constantly throwing his bunny with my left hand as I'm drawing with my right hand as I talk into the computer to keep him entertained. That is my, I have to be ambidextrous with my hands. But anyways, okay. Lainey. Hey, Rod. Oh, thank you, Lainey. You are a sweetheart. Thank you for pinning all that stuff. I always forget about mentioning all that stuff. So thank you. All right. Where's your bunny? You gotta give it to me. Here. There you go. Okay, so now legs. How do they connect to the human body? So let's imagine that the human body is a potato. Okay, everybody can draw a potato. Everybody can just draw a little blob, right? There is not a single human being that can't draw a random shape like this. So draw a potato. Okay, from the potato's edge, you're gonna draw 2 lines down. It should be nice and flush with the outside shape of your leg. Okay? And then you're gonna go a little triangle or whatever circle shape, whatever shape you like for your foot. Then you bring it back inside. And now you have legs. Okay? Understanding just the natural flow of your body is very important. The same thing happens with your arms, by the way. You go over the top, you follow the outside, and then you bring them back inside. The actual elements of your body are not very complicated. They're just normally taught incredibly difficult and in ways that make it super hard. But you don't have to struggle with posing. You don't have to struggle with things like finding how your body works. It really is quite simple if you allow yourself to do that. So now, once you know how to draw a potato, beep, 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 you're going to draw the outside of potato, and you're going to draw the outside of the potato. It's a modified stick figure, okay? And then you just draw the volume lines inside. Was that very hard? Probably not. Now, how do you make this work to a more extensive degree? Well, you need to learn how to overlap shapes so that you can be able to pose things differently. But it's the same exact thing, okay? The arms and the legs all flow from the outside of your shape, okay? Regardless of where they're going, it's outside first, inside volume. Outside first, inside volume. And if you just keep that notion in mind, you don't have to guess or think or overthink where things are supposed to go. Because they just naturally flow from the outside parts of your body. So if you learn how to draw a circle and just learn how to draw little circles around it, you have access to drawing your legs in a bunch of different positions. Okay? You can do them in any way you want. And these little methods is what I call a sushi. I have a whole video on them if you guys want to go watch them. Okay? There's a video on YouTube. Please, if you guys have problems with legs, go watch this video immediately. As a matter of fact, pause this, take the time right now to follow my advice. Take the time to go find the video and watch it either after this immediately or watch it later on when you have time. But if you are going to retain this information and you want this information to stay with you forever, what I suggest is that you guys put this into practice immediately as soon as you guys can. Because one thing is having knowledge and the other thing is retaining that knowledge. Yeah. Kamehameha. Accepting them, even innocent things, it will filter it. What? Also remind to chat, it auto-filters some comments and sometimes it keeps. Oh, thank you. I have a full problem with the full head instead. What? I have a problem with the full instead head who learned. I don't understand your question. Please write things so we can actually read them. I can't help you if I can't understand your question. Okay, so if you have to make sure that you are making this easy for me to understand what you're trying to say. You can't expect me to make sense of your nonsensical questions. It just doesn't work like that. See how it's just the body flow happens from the top, inside volume. Boop, boop, boom, boom. So learning how to move your character, it doesn't have to be incredibly complicated. It just really is a matter of just understanding how your body works. Could you give any advice on how to draw limbs in extreme perspectives? Yeah. Oh, okay, well, now that we understand a little bit of how this works, let's talk about overlapping shapes. Okay, so the reason that legs and stuff like that are hard too is because people don't know how to draw through their shapes. So drawing things like forearms into shoulders is a nightmare for people. Drawing fingers is an absolute nightmare because they have to draw through, and hands as well are such a nightmare for people because they don't understand how to draw through their actual designs. So not knowing how to draw this and learn how to connect them is impeding you from being able to draw really cool shit. Okay? You not knowing how to draw through your drawings because you draw purely based on a style or based on copying other people, this is what takes forever to learn. This is, honestly, this is the key. This is the key to the kingdom. This is the key to your imagination being unlocked. Being able to just do this and learn how to judge, how to generate volume based on what and how much you overlap something. This is the key to the kingdom. This is how you unlock every skill that you have wanted to do your whole life. This is how you draw all that volume for those poses, all that anatomy, all those details that you like from all the stuff that you've ever watched. It's all about learning how to overlap lines together to generate volume. Be it for a leg, be it for an arm, be it for anything that you really want to create, even down to the fingers. Okay? It's all about overlapping lines. And understanding how to overlap those is something that takes a fuck ton of time to do. Sorry for the word choice, but it is really that it takes that long. And it is frustrating, and it is hard, and it's difficult, and it's normally not the easiest thing to learn because it's boring sometimes. Okay, if somebody doesn't explain to you how this little baby beanbag shape, right, can generate every single outcome from a human face to a human body, it gives you access to doing a lot. Legs, the connecting with the feet is also a beanbag, right? So this is a beanbag, this is a beanbag, every toe is a beanbag, every arm is a beanbag, the wrist into the hand is a beanbag, fingers are beanbag, thumbs and beanbags. You can make everything into a beanbag. So it's a beautiful shape that you can use to be able to maneuver and create volume because that beanbag has a lot of flexibility, right? So if you want to create characters that have much more bendiness, being able to do that isn't very hard if you understand how to use a little beanbag shape. Because it's literally just taking two circles, positioning them in the angles you want, and then you fill in with details. Okay? It's not very difficult to understand, but to execute is really freaking hard sometimes. Because a lot of people can't and don't spend the time just drawing this. Not little circles, but circles inside circles to draw through your shape, finding the front, finding the back, knowing that if I draw this a little bit more, this is the front, this is the back. Just baby exercises like this are what map out in your brain the ability to do these things, right? How many of you guys ever think about this? If you draw a profile, right? If you draw a profile, what is this line right here? Have you ever really considered what that line is? Because it's really easy to make that into a 3/4 by understanding that that's just your midline, right? Whatever the line is, the profile line, that is your midline. So that line has a curve, has a bump, and has a dip. If you just copied that in space and you just understood how concept volume works, you wouldn't be so amazed about like how people do turnarounds and stuff like that. It's just normally explained so incredibly difficult that so many people feel like it has to be like, oh, it's just animators that have to learn this shit. No, it's really easy. It's literally just moving this line from here to here to here. That's it. But it's so hard if you don't take the time to just draw circles. Like without this little practice and exercises that you do like often, that becomes really hard because it's just not gonna be natural to you. Okay? But once you take the time to just sit down and draw a couple circles for a couple like days, even like a month of just drawing constant circles just so you can get perfect memorization and like knowledge and understanding of it, then your artwork is going to exponentially be like 1,000 times better in like 1,000th of the time. I have I released a couple videos lately. I taught you guys how to draw a skull from a box in one of the most recent ones. So you make a box that's perfectly the same, exactly the same on all sides, and then you divide this bottom part into 2 triangles. That gives you 2 little circles. That is going to be the perfect spacing for your eyes in your eye sockets, okay? From there, that little triangle becomes a little triangle for your nose and your nose bridge. And then that little triangle also gives you ability to draw a teardrop. The teardrop gives you access to different sized jaws. Let's say if I draw it about equal sizing, it gives me a normal human structure of a like, I don't know, a teenager, middle-aged person. If I draw that a little bit smaller, it gives me a little kid. If I draw it really big, it can give me a superhero or whatever, a popo. So that, knowing that this upper part doesn't change, just the bottom part of that teardrop and how you connect it, you have access to every character design in the world. So I taught you guys how to do that. And how to generate volume for this is incredibly easy. You just draw a circle, the size of that box, and you have yourself a 3/4 view. So it's not really all that difficult. You don't have to think about it as some elite thing like, oh, I have to learn some process, like the Loomis method. No, the RODGON method. This is so much easier. And when you want to draw something from the side, just consider that your head is kind of more or less a even spaced thing. So if you have your front of your head right here, that's going to be 1, 2. The side of your head is going to be 3, 4. So your head has 4 parts, technically, a visible area, right? If you take that and you make your box from the front, you have your eye sockets and the side of your head. Draw the teardrop and connect it to the middle of your circle. Ta-da! 3/4, yay! The 1, 2, 3, 4, yay. So I teach you guys that as well. And then how do you use this with a real thing? Well, if you do this lightly, it gives you a nice little mapping system that allows you to be able to draw your entire structure including your hair, blah, 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 without really having to guess where things are supposed to go. So without having to guess, then you can get a lot more creative. You can be a lot more intuitive about your storytelling when you don't have to worry about the structure of how things work. Okay? When you don't have to be like, oh, is that eye right? Is that leg right? No, when you don't have to think about that, it becomes incredibly simpler. And I just happen to develop a system that allows you to do that quite easy. And it doesn't matter what style you want to choose, because I'm not giving you a style guide. I'm just giving you a anatomy reference point sheet. So you can stylize these as any way you want, okay? Can you show me how to make someone smiling? Okay, so you know that little teardrop we drew, right? So if we draw a little triangle and we draw a teardrop, this gives us our nose, no space. And then this is gonna give us our teeth line, okay? So our teeth go about half of the way up. You have your chin on the bottom of the teardrop, and then all you have to do for your mouth is draw around your teeth. So any shape that you draw, just draw around your teeth and then connect it back to that triangle. So let's do that again. Teardrop, little triangle at the top to give myself a little reference point for a nose. This becomes my teeth line, and I draw my chin at the bottom. Let's say I want a puckered up lips. My lips are not gonna stick with my teeth. My lips are above my teeth. So if I have really, really puckery lips, that volume going forward is bigger. So I just draw around my lips, around my mouth, around my teeth. And then at the edge of my mouth, I connect it to the edge of my triangle. My lip has a little bit of coloration, and you have yourself a mouth. So another way to draw mouths is to do this simple trick. Draw the lower part of your upper mouth, of your upper lip, the lower part of your upper lip, and the upper part of your lower lip. So what you're doing is you're drawing two intersecting lines like this. Okay? But you're making sure that the upper one is thicker and it has a little bit of volume. So the upper one has a little bit of volume. The lower one is also going to have volume, but it's also going to be overlapped by the top one. So it gives you this little kind of like cute little shape that also is the same way you draw eyes. Instead of drawing lips, you draw eyelashes. But it's the same thing, same concept, overlapping lines. Overlapping lines can create a lot of detail really quick, and a lot of depth, which is more important. Okay? Overlapping lines in the side view looks kind of like that. Okay? For an eyeball, for a mouth. The same concept applies. The upper line overlaps the bottom line, and then you add your detail. Question. If a question is not answered on here, check his YouTube. Oh, you are a sweetheart. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much. I always forget to mention all this stuff. So you are helping me so much. And you teach us something you learned recently. Okay, let's see. Well, let's look back at my little book of secret lessons. So This is the book of lessons that I normally take on with me whenever I am driving or taking anywhere. I like to take a little sketchbook with me to be able to write down little concepts and things that I might like to teach later. So in this case, you get, I was playing with proportions, playing around with mapping. I was talking about like how to make sure that I teach people how to draw things from different perspectives and understanding how to do that from a very basic shape like a sphere, right? So all this book is just filled with little lessons like that. Little lessons that I use to be able to simplify the concepts for you. And one of the more recent ones that I have been learning, I've been trying to teach myself. Well, let's move on forward. Vehicles are one thing that I've been taking a little bit more time to understand. And it's a lot of times vehicles and perspective for things like that, it's misunderstood a lot. It really is. A lot of it is very misunderstood. And I think I have a feeling that a lot of people need to learn what isometric perspective is instead of horizon perspective, what I like to call. The difference between those the difference is that in one of them, you have no differentiation of taper, right? So that's isometric perspective. This is what you use for character design and vehicle design and stuff like that. And then there's horizon perspective. And that's the one that you use like horizon point, and you use this, and you have like whole tapering situation going on. This is another kind of perspective that you need to use. This is normally used for environments. This is used for situational stuff. If you want to have like super extreme perspective and stuff like that, maybe you use this. But a lot of the times, this is more useful than this. Why? Because this just gives you dimensions for something that doesn't have the depth of a building. We don't have tapering in our faces. This does not happen when we draw 3/4 or whatever. You don't have one eye that's smaller and one eye that's much bigger. It just doesn't happen. And a lot of people have issues because they think that is the case. No, a lot of the times we see maybe a little bit thinner of an eyeball. That's because we just have part of it blocked by like a nose or something. But it's not thinner. It's not that. It's literally the same eye, the same shape most often. And then it's just naturally blocked by visual obstructions that make it look a little bit smaller. So that is something that I have been playing around with. And this is something that I've learned recently. I teach you guys pretty much everything that I am constantly playing around with. And this is something that I've learned recently. I teach you guys pretty much everything that I am constantly. So the scanning is, it's already done. It's just a matter of getting me the files. I think just Google Drive is being a bitch. Taking bets now, I say internet. No. I just took a call. I took a call. It was an important one. I needed to make sure that I took it. It's the person that has my scan-ins for my sketchbooks. So I needed to make sure that he can get them to me. And Google Drive is having some issues, so we were just trying to figure out how they're going to get them to me so that I can finish that book today. All right, so what's the next thing you guys want to learn? So far we have learned how to draw the legs properly. We learned about the sushi. We learned about how to draw things from potatoes. Right? How your body parts are not as difficult to draw as you guys think they are. Normally, it's just that we are overthinking absolutely everything, right? We absolutely overthink every single part of our bodies, and we are afraid to overlap our shapes. So that tends to be a big component in not being able to draw things in the places that we want them. So understanding how your body works is very important, but understanding how to overlap shapes is even more important than that. Because overlapping shapes is essentially how you create magic. Head connection to the body. Okay, so the head connection to the body. So you guys are going to laugh. You guys are going to laugh so hard when you think how easy this is. Okay, you're going to draw an egg. you're going to draw a little egg. Okay? At the top of the egg, you're going to draw a circle. That circle, you're going to draw a cylinder up from there. So you're just going to draw that. You can draw that same size, make it a little bigger if you want, but it could be around that same size. From here, you're going to take this same circle and you're going to draw it a little higher. And you're going to close that off as your head. You have your neck and you have your body. This is the ratio that you should be looking for. Okay, this can become your hair. From here, you're going to draw a compass touching the top and the bottom of the circle, and you're going to draw a compass depending on how wide you want your shoulders to be. You're going to touch the top and the bottom, and you're going to draw a little compass depending on how wide you want your shoulders to be. This becomes the outside part of your arm. Not the middle, the outside. This is the outside of your arm, okay? That's important for a reason. You're gonna bring the connecting point from this edge, this point, to the middle of, or your rib cage, is gonna be the width of your arm. Okay, or you can just bring it back in. And wherever it connects, draw a circle. This little circle is gonna be the inside part of your pectoral muscle. Wherever that inside circle is, that is your pectoral muscle. Okay, so you connect it, and there's a reason for those connectings. The top part right here becomes your collarbone, and it goes to that same point. So this little section works like this. This becomes the middle part of your rib cage. You have your ears, you have your neck, you have your back muscles, and you have your collarbone, all within that structure. How cool is that? Like, you don't have to guess any of that stuff. And the end point gives you access to the outside part of your arm. So from there, you could either connect your pectoral back to that point, or you can do the whole finding the arm first and then connecting points and stuff like that. But understanding that part is just a matter of knowing that it connects back to that one point. Okay? Your shoulder connects in the front, the back, and length of your arm. Okay, let's draw a little like arm. So from here you go 1, 2, 3. Curvy, curvy. So you just go around so you can leave this as your muscle. So that looks like this when you're drawing it with your body parts. See how cool that is? That takes 2 seconds, and then your arm comes in after that. But you already drew the outside of your arm, so all you have to draw is draw the inside. So you don't have to guess anything. The egg is going to give you your rib cage. And then from there, your back muscles connect behind your arm. If you want to connect the neck a little more, the bottom of the ear connects to the middle of the collarbone. Boom, boom. So whenever you're drawing your heads, bottom of the ear, middle of the collarbone. Find the other ear, draw through your shape to find your other ear, bottom of the collarbone. Other side of the compass, other pectoral, other shoulder. Okay? Then you make the box, triangle, circle, circle, teardrop. then you have yourself the whole system. So from here, bottom of the ear, box, box, triangle, triangle, circle, circle, teardrop, teardrop size. Ta-da! So it takes like no time at all. Once I have a reference point, which could be the ears, that gives me the bottom of the box. So that's really cool. It's a really good reference point. So anywhere that I draw an ear on a shape, that is going to be where the bottom of the box is. So I can draw heads and shapes from any angle. Why is it not letting me do that? I don't understand why it's not like giving me access to that. Okay, anyways. Can you show some, female figures for the head or for the body? For the body, the female figure is essentially the same. It's a compass. The only difference that happens is within the pectoral muscles. So once you draw your breastplate, draw your boobs connected to your armpit. So that point, go and draw like a little figure 9 from there. Whee! Or it could be another way is to draw a heart coming from the back of your circle. So you draw that and then you draw a little heart. And that's another way to be able to produce that volume. From a natural reference point, you still got to connect it to the armpits because that's kind of how your pectorals work, right? You still have to learn that this is volume that's extra above your pectoral muscles. So you have your pecs, and then you have your fatty tissue for your breasts. So you have the muscle, but you also have the fatty tissue on top. What should we learn next time? Ooh, facial expressions. Here, ooh, cool. Let's do facial expressions tomorrow. Actually, we can do facial expressions later today. I'll just write it down right here. So our next stream will be facial expressions. Thank you. I didn't even know we could do that. I didn't know you could do like a poll. Huh, that's kind of cool. Facial expressions. So we will do that as our next stream. Thank you for voting. That was kind of cool. That was really cool. I'm going to see, depending on like what I have to do today. Hold on, I got to send a message real fast, guys. I'll be right back. Please, I got to just make sure that the person understands that I haven't gotten the messages yet. Send a message real fast, guys. I'll be right back. Please, I got to just make sure that the person understands that I haven't gotten the messages yet. At some point, because otherwise I can't put together the book. It's not distractions. It's more so me being a one-man army and trying to make sure that I get everything handled. Yeah, it's really difficult to do everything without assistance or without help, and it's getting to the point where I'm trying to manage almost 800,000 people, clients and emails and inquiries and stuff like that, and it's really hard. Like I get overwhelmed a lot, and it made me shut down last week like horribly. I just kind of went like, woof, like nope, I'm done. No, wait, hold on, nope. Like, and I don't know, like I need to make sure that I take this to the levels that I need to, but I need to make sure that I don't lose myself within that, because I will, and I get obsessive, and if I don't take care of myself, I'll just forget to eat. Like I think the last time that like happened, that was when I was putting together the pinup book, and I didn't eat for 4 days, and I had like coffee, I think, but that was it. And so I was like, why am I so hungry? Oh, am I so in pain? Why is my stomach hurting? Why am I passing out? And you just don't realize you just went days without drinking water or eating or sleeping, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I should probably do something like that. That's why I need an assistant. I need someone to just tell me to either relax or chill or work harder. Like, I need someone with better judgment on time management than I do so that they can give me a better understanding of how to be able to manage my time. I just work better with direction, and without it, I'm just floating around in a million ideas all over the place. So I think it's necessary to this point to find a really bossy person to put me in my place all the time, kind of like that girl from Monk, like that little like the assistant girl. She's like super like sassy and is like, shut the fuck up. Just do your work. Here's this, sign this, we're gonna sell this, create this. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I need that. If any future girlfriends or potential partners want to ever covet that spot, hey, that's how you win me over. It's not with anything else. Just throwing that out there for my future ex-wife. Can you do a sequence of heads going around? Yeah, I think we can do that here. So if we are going to be drawing a character looking around, the best way to do it is by understanding our midline, right? If we understand that our midline is going to consistently give us access to the same placement of things, all we have to do is be careful with the spacing for our features. So if we make sure that this is not the same, right? This is small, this is way smaller than this. So that little differentiation would make a big difference when it comes down to the turnaround. So making sure that the spacing is very similar or close to it, even if you do rotate it in space, is going to consistently give you the same output. So when you start adding things that are a little bit more complicated, like noses, start with a profile, because the profile is your midline. All you have to do is thin out that midline, and you have yourself that view from every other view. This is your midline. So your profile line is your midline. So whatever you draw as a profile, that is your midline. You just have to thin it out to get the proportions that you need. And then you can just rotate your head all over the place. Because that is your midline. If you need to rotate it up, draw the profile that you're comfortable with, and then just rotate it up. Again, anatomy and stuff like that isn't like a building. You don't need a gigantic amount of perspective to give somebody depth. Okay? All you really need to learn is how to navigate this area right here. And a lot of the times we practice that by just rotating things on a sphere. Taking the time to understand every single angle within a sphere is how we understand how to be able to draw more complicated things in space later on. Lips from different angles. Again, lips are just two overlapping lines, right? It's this and this. That's the case. So if you do that from any angle, you can have angles galore. Okay? The more you open those lines up, the more access you have to draw really cool stuff like, shouting and stuff like that. But this is still also just that. That's all it is. See? That's all it is. It's just two overlapping lines. You just have to learn to visualize it like that. And you got to pay attention to the bottom part of your mouth, like the bottom part of your upper lip and the upper part of your lower lip. And those are the two parts that are intersecting with each other. From there, the volume just goes up and up, and the upper lip tends to overlap the bottom lip most of the time. Okie dokie? All right, with that being said, we are done with today's lesson, everybody. Thank you so much for being my students. Thank you so much for putting in the patience with with this. I know that there was a little bit of distractions today, so hope it wasn't too much. Okay, now I need request. What? Anyways, you guys have a lovely day. I'm going to get this sketchbook thing sorted out, and I will have a sketchbook ready for you guys to be released soon. So look forward to that. I have the cover. If you guys want to see what the cover looks like, I have put the cover preview over on Instagram. So if you guys want to see what it kind of looks like, you guys can go over there. If you guys want to learn more, you guys can always go to my YouTube channel, because that is where I have all my lessons that I like, all the very, very cool ones that I have done. And there's over 400 of them. So you guys can go buy books or whatever, or you guys can just go look at countless amounts of hours of my time just explaining shit so you guys can make it easier in the art world. Take care, everybody. Love you all. See you guys soon. And, oh, homework. Draw potatoes. Just play with this concept. Honestly, the homework in itself doesn't have to be very complicated. Just draw the concept of the potato with your arms and extremities coming out of the edges, flowing from the sides, and connecting back into the body. So outside edge, inside volume. Outside edge, inside volume. Outside edge, inside volume. Outside edge, inside volume. Okay? Have a lovely day, everybody. You guys have a fantastic evening, and make this the best Tuesday you have ever had in your life. And then the next one, better. And then the next one, better. And then you guys will never, ever, 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 ever have a bad Tuesday again. Have a lovely day. Later, gators.